Today's video is going to be what the title states, a PvE only natural 5-star tier list. There are natural 5-star monsters that are better than others for PvE. I broke them down again in 6 different categories, and we're going to go over that today. If you like all my videos and like my content, hit the sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy dingy thing so you know when I post a video. Let's go, baby. Okay, so like I said, the natural 5-star tier list is for PvE only, broken down in 6 categories. I'll explain to you when I get there. Above me right now are the ones that you do not want to build for PvE, at least right now in April 2023. These monsters specifically for A, either PvP, B, they need a buff, or C, there's just better natural 5-stars out there that'll do a better job. The monsters above me now are the rare, occasionally, yes, but you should prioritize other natural 5-star units first. They definitely could be useful somewhere. Like Fire Archangel, for example, on paper he sounds good, but his cooldowns are just too high or his mana cost is too high. A lot of these do need buffs, but for PvE, these monsters above me, there's just better ones to choose. Above me right now are the natural 5-star units that are used in specific dungeons, raids, areas, etc. Some of them are also good in PvP, but sometimes occasionally good in PvE. They could be good in Galagos Ruins, they could be good in Ruined Temple Seal, they could be good in special expeditions. But for PvE, there's just other monsters that will benefit you in more places. I'm not saying these are bad at all, there's just better. Above me right now are really good natural 5-star units, but like I said, there's just better. These are stronger than the lower tier, used in more places, and are not a bad choice to choose. I mean, as you can see up there, there is some notable natural 5-stars on this tier. There's Annabelle, there's Sekhmet, crucial natural 5-star monsters that a lot of us have told you to either pick in your selective summon or whatnot. But if I'm basing this on PvE only, there are just better monsters. If anything, I would say Annabelle is the only iffy one on this list that could be higher. But I'm basing this PvE tier list off of all summoners as well, and team compositions. For PvE, there's just better options. The next tier are very strong natural 5-star monsters. These are monsters that you definitely build. They're good in a lot of different places, raids, dungeons, expeditions, etc., etc. If you have these monsters, they're definitely high on the priority list to build. This is second from the top, so these are notable. I wasn't able to choose Light Heart Magician, it didn't have an icon for it, but Light and Dark Heart Magician, crazy good in PvE. And if I could combine monsters, Dark and Light Heart Magician would be at the top of this tier list. If you put them together, those two combined in PvE is crazy. Makes PvE super easy, and that's a video for a different day. Now let's talk about the OP monsters. The natural 5-star units, if you have, you should definitely build for raids, for world boss, for guild boss, because ultimately that's what PvE is. These are not in any particular order. First we got Water Archangel Ariel. Ariel is the best healer in the game by far. He has an AOE heal that removes a harmful effect. That AOE heal also applies a level 1 heal over time. If he removes a debuff, he will apply a second level of heal over time. His first skill is a single target heal that also applies a defense buff. He can keep your team up by himself. Next is Dark Archangel Fermion. Fermion is the only monster in the game that has an unremovable damage taken up debuff. This also stacks with the other damage taken up debuff that aka Helia provides. He also removes a beneficial effect, so good for a lot of PvE, dungeons, raids. Next, Fire Polar Queen Brandia. Brandia is a boss killer. On her second skill, if she's attacking a buff, she gets 30% damage dealt up and ignores 50% of the defense. Her first skill, if there's only one enemy, it does more damage than it would if there was more enemies. but it is still technically an AOE spell. It'll apply damage taken up as well, and if it's only one enemy, it'll do another level 2 damage taken up. Next, Water Desert Queen Bastet. Everybody should know what she does. In raids, you can actually soul link her and bring 2 damage dealing monsters, and you just spam her shield skill, which gives shield and attack buff, and you don't even need to bring a healer 99% of the time. If your summoner stays at full health, you will get 1 mana back as well. The attack buff and shield obviously goes to other allies in the area as well, and that's other summoners and their monsters. Dark Undine Talasha, really the only debatable one at the top of the list. I put her here because of Revive. Revives have been nerfed, but in my opinion, she probably has the best revive. She's going to cast an AoE heal over time. If a monster is dead, she will revive a unit, but give them invincibility. And because revives revive now with low HP, this gives a chance for that monster to survive. But if there's no monster dead, then she will increase your mana by 1. So those 3 things being on either a 3 mana cost if everybody's alive, or a 4 is really good. But not only that, she does have a single target heal as well, which also damages all enemies in the area and applies skill deceleration. On North America server, you can put Despair on her and just add that extra chance to stun. Next, Windjack-O-Lantern Wendy. Wendy is the only monster in the game that gives a crit damage buff to your allies. And that's not just your team, that is everyone in your raid and everyone in your guild raid. Wind Magic Knight Lupinus. Now she's like your free fire raven, but she's just a tiny bit better. She has low mana costs if she's on Soul Link, but she also has low cooldowns if she's off a Soul Link. But not only that, she gets bonus damage per 1% of the target's HP, depending on how much HP the enemy has. And she has a silence, which is actually good in PvE. Some monsters and bosses are allowed to be silenced. Plus, she's great in the Raka with all the damage mitigation she does. Next, Fire Vampire Vertiheel. If you don't know who Vertiheel is yet, let me tell you. If you're trying to top the damage meters, Vertiheel is your guy. He's not the one doing the damage. However, what is important is his second skill and his ultimate. When Vertiheel gets level 10 Thirst, and you use his second skill, this will apply level 1 mana cost down, and mana regen speed up to your summoner. However, once you have that full ultimate gauge, you switch to Vertiheel and use the ultimate with Vertiheel as your soul link, and your summoner gets level 3 mana cost down and mana regen speed up, which lasts for 20 seconds, which is huge. You then switch back to your damage dealer, who will now have a 1 mana cost nuke. You're going to be able to spam this soul link skill, which not only gives you a ton more damage DPS, but this will also fill up your ultimate gauge because you're using the soul link skills. Using Vertiheel, you need to level up the skill to max that lets you switch soul link monsters every second. Next is one of the best damage dealers in the game for PvE, Wind Vampire Argon. The great thing about Argon is A, the more harmful effects the enemy has, the more damage you do, right? Yes. But the thing with Argon, if he's your sole damage dealer, the only damage dealer on your team, he can bring his own attack buff. So this means in team compositions, you don't necessarily need to bring your own attack buff. When you're trying to optimize like guild raids and stuff like that, you want a level 10 attack buff, so you're going to be bringing supports to bring attack. But if this is just dungeons or regular raids, you don't necessarily need to bring a support that has an attack buff. You can fill that spot with another damage dealer, or whatever the case may be. Next, Light Mermaid Molly. Molly is a crazy good support. She has an AoE heal based off of her attack and her max HP. Not only that, she gives your team 2 buffs. One is damage taken down, and the other is recovery received up. And her first skill is crazy good. Honestly underrated. Water Mermaid has the same skill. It's a 2 mana cost, 14-second cooldown. Single target shield to an ally, which helps mitigate damage even more. And when she casts this AOE heal with the recovery received up, she also has a passive to her basic attack. Whatever ally has the lowest HP, she will heal them for 35% of her attack and 2.5% of her max HP. Just like our 4-star friends Fire and Light arc. And last on the list, Light Polar Queen Eleanoa. So she's the better version of Wind Polar Queen, but also with like Konamiya inside her, giggity. It's all about her second skill. This decreases your summoner's skill cooldowns by 80%, increases your ultimate gauge by 20%, and also decreases your monster skill cooldowns by 40%. Put Light Polar Queen on Soul Link and use her second skill. When you get that ultimate gauge full, you switch to Vertiheal. You use the ultimate, then switch to your damage dealer. You spam that nuke skill on Soul Link, but while you're doing that, you're filling your own ultimate gauge up by spamming the skill. She's also back there on non-Soul Link using her skills as well, decreasing the cooldowns for your summoner and Vertiheal, which will also increase that mana speed regen up buff. Definitely worth. Plus she's got a back tattoo if you're into that. You know what I'm saying, giggity. And that's it for today's video. I'll do a PvP tier list, but not anytime soon. I'm kind of tired of tier lists. This is just requested so much, and I hope this answers a lot of questions that you guys have for me. Like I said, it's a tier list. It's not the end all be all, but hopefully these monsters will help you prioritize who to build. I'll leave a link to the tier list down below in the description. If you ended up liking this video, sub, like, ding ding a bell. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!